So you're interested in heat, temperature, and pressure. Well, you come to the right place. We're going over Unit 1 about heat, temperature, and pressure. So please make sure that you stay tuned. Get into Unit 1, heat, temperature, and pressure. I'm trying to keep it as professional as possible, but a way that you'll be able to see it. So I went ahead and screen recorded so that I can show you on Google Slides how we can see the information. That way, just in case you need to go back before a test or a small cram session, this will be able to be a refresher course for you. I'm going to go into real quick what this chapter is about. It's going to cover our temperature, our methods of transferring and measuring heat. It's also going to discuss sensible heat, latent heat, and specific heat. And then we'll go into the pressures and then how to test the pressure with our gauges. So then to break down the layout, and this layout is going to be done over all of the videos, but the first part will be the introduction of what this chapter is about. We'll talk about review questions and we'll go over each answer. We'll also give you a small summary of what the chapter is about. And then lastly, we'll do the lab manual questions. So if you have any comments, if I'm doing a good job, if I'm not doing a good job, please make sure that you leave it in the comment section. Hopefully it's no negative, but all of this is supposed to be to help all of my HVAC students to be the best heat and ventilation and technician you can be. Also, if you would love to subscribe, that would be very, 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 very helpful. Hit the bell notification, leave a comment, and also follow us on our platforms of Southern Beauty of HVAC. A small clip that I want to add for you guys is our merchandise. So we do have some merch for you guys. It's Southern Beauty of HVAC. We have some pouches, we have some pint glasses, hoodies, t-shirts, and stickers and bags. So if you would like to be a part of our team and have some lovely merchandise with our name on it, please make sure that you go to our website, which is on Teesprings, and I'll make sure I add that into the description. But just rock our merch, and this is from your best Southern Beauty of HVAC, and I want you guys to have some lovely merchandise. All right, so back to the information at hand. So we went over what this is about. Let's go ahead and hit our review questions, and I'm going to make the screen big so you can see everything. All right, so the first question is, temperature is defined as what? I'll give you a few seconds before I give you the answer. And that answer is the level of heat. State the standard condition for water to boil at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That answer will be 14.696 psia. All right, number 3, we're going to list 4 types of temperature scales. Do you got the answer? We have Fahrenheit, Celsius, Rankine, and Kelvin. Number 4, under standard conditions, water freezes at what degrees Celsius? That's 0 degrees Celsius. Question number 5. Modular motion stops at what degrees Fahrenheit? And that's negative 460 degrees Fahrenheit. Unit may rise the temperature of blank pounds of water blank degrees Fahrenheit. It'll be 1 pound of water for 1 degree Fahrenheit. Number 6, In which direction does heat flow? From a warm substance to a cold substance. Number 8, describe heat transfer by conduction. Heat transfers from module to module. Number 9, an increase in sensible heat causes what? A higher thermometer reading. Latent heat causes what? A change of state. Describe how heat is transferred by convection. Heat is transferred by moving in a medium such as air or water. 12. Describe how heat is transferred by radiation. Heat is transferred through space without heating the space and heats the first solid objects the heat energy strikes. 13. Specific heat is the amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 pound of what 1 degrees? Substance. So it's 1 pound of a substance, 1 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 14. Pressure at sea level under standard conditions is blank inches of mercury or blank pounds per square inch absolute PSIA. And what is that? It's 29.92 inches of mercury or 14.696 PSIA. So pressure at sea level under those conditions will be at that level. Number 15, to change from PSIG to PSIA, you must add what to PSIG? 14.696. It's part of formulas. You got to get them. All right. Number 16. Convert 80 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. That answer will be 26.7 degrees Celsius. This part does have a lot of formulas. All right, so let's try it again. So convert 22 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. And that answer is 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so this is going to conclude our review textbook questions. And like I said, there's a lot of formulas in this one, but this is the foundation that you need in order to move forward to the other chapters. Now, if you do need more of a detailed description or an easier way to understand how to do that, I'll make sure that I'll add that into the comments if you go ahead and hit me with a comment. But let's move on to our lab questions. But before we do that, I'm going to do a unit overview. And I'm basically just going to give you a small summary of what that chapter, Unit 1, talks about. And then once we finish that, then we'll do the lab questions. But if you don't need this section that I'm about to include right now, just go ahead and move on. But I hope this part will be helpful to all of my students, who need this information. But I'll drop some notes so you'll see it as well. All right, so temperature can be thought of as a level of heat or intensity of module activity. Everything in the universe is made up of modules, okay? So we use certain scales like the Fahrenheit scale of temperature, which is used in the United States for all of these years by technicians that deal with air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration. And we also use Celsius in some parts of the U.S., but not all of them. But these things are used to help with our temperature and our pressure. Things that you should remember is pure water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 100 degrees Celsius. Just something that we should remember in our mind. But all of these measurements are done at sea level. And so when the pressure is at 14.696 psi, that is what tells us that water boils. Now, when water freezes, it's going to be at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 0 degrees Celsius, okay? These are just things that we should remember. Modules in matter are consistently moving, and the hotter a substance is, the faster that they move. Now, in British thermal unit, which is the abbreviation of BTU, it describes the amount of heat, and it takes a rise in temperature of 1 pound of water every 1 degree Fahrenheit. And so when there's a temperature difference between two substances, heat transfers, and it takes place in between those two substances. So you can tell, and just remember, heat flows from a warmer substance to a cooler substance. Just something you should remember. Conduction, which is the definition of conduction, is the transfer from one module to another module within a substance. The definition of convection, and these will be on your test, so you got to think of conduction, convection, radiation. So conduction is a transfer from module to a module. Convection is the movement of heat by a gas or a liquid from one place to another. And then radiation is the transfer of heat through air or gas or vacuum without heating it. But those heating those solid objects with which it comes in contact with. So remember, conduction, convection, radiation. And these, the book gives you descriptions. I don't have the descriptions to give you right now, but if you look into the book, and you can follow throughout the book as I'm talking about it, but those are things that you should remember. All right, let me continue on. So latent heat is the heat added to or rejected by a substance that results in the change of a state of the substance without a change in temperature. Latent heat of evaporation is the amount of heat energy needed to typically change a liquid into a vapor. So latent heat of condensation is the amount of heat energy needed to commonly change a vapor into a liquid. So latent heat of condensation, I'm going to say it again. Latent heat of condensation is the amount of heat energy needed of commonly changing a vapor into a liquid. Latent heat is fusion, and it is the amount of heat energy needed to change a substance from a solid to a liquid or from a liquid to a solid. The definition of sensible heat is the heat added to or rejected by a substance that causes the temperature to change. The definition of specific heat is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 pound of a substance at 1 degree Fahrenheit. So the specific heat of water is 1, which means that the temperature of 1 pound of water that increases 1 degree Fahrenheit is added to it. So if you are looking at the BTU chart, the heat energy is added to that 1 degree Fahrenheit. So the specific heat of water is 1, which means that the temperature of 1 pound of water would increase 1 degree if 1 BTU of heat energy was added to it. So the specific heat of air is about 0.24 BTUs per pound. All right, so pressure is the force applied to a specific unit of area. This is normally expressed in pounds per square unit. The Earth's atmosphere has weighed and applies a force of 14.696 psi at sea level at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Barometers measure this pressure, and gauges measure pressure in enclosed systems. Gauge pressures do not include the pressure of the atmosphere and are expressed in pounds per square unit gauge. If the pressure of the atmosphere is taken into account, we express this pressure in the units of pounds per square inch absolute, which is PSI. All right. Whew. We did good. Now let's move on to our lab questions and let's end this up. All right, number 1. The standard conditions for water to boil at 212 degrees Fahrenheit are 14.696 at a temperature of 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember this for the refrigeration system. Question number 2. At standard conditions, waters will boil at blank of the Celsius scale. That's 100 degrees Celsius. Question number 3. If water weighs 8.33 pounds per gallon, it will take blank BTUs to raise the temperature of 4 gallons of water from 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that answer? $66.7. Question number 4. Heat energy flows from a warmer substance to a cooler substance. True or false? True. Question number 5. When heat transfers by conduction, it moves from module to module within the substance. Question number 6. When heat transfers by convection, it is transferred from one place to another by air or liquid. Question number 7. When heat transfers by radiation, it moves from space and air and heats only solid objects. Question number 8. Sensible heat energy levels can be measured with a thermometer. Question number 9. Latent heat energy levels result in a change of state of the substance. Number 10. The atmosphere will support a column of mercury blank inches high at sea level. That's 29.92. Number 11. A Bourdon tube can be found in a pressure gauge. Number 12. PSIG is equal to what? 14.696. 13. 98 degrees Celsius is equal to what? 208.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Question number 14. 70 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to what? 21.1 degrees Celsius. Question number 15. 200 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to what? 93.3 degrees Celsius. Number 16. 28 degrees Celsius is equal to what? 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 17. A combined gauge can be used to measure pressures above and below pressure. 18. When a substance is heated, the molecules move faster. 19. The latent heat of fusion from a water to ice transformation is 144 BTUs per pound. 20. Absolute pressure at sea level under standard conditions is blank psi. The answer is 14.696. All right, so we have covered Unit 1, which is heat, temperature, and pressure. And you did a great job. Even if you needed help and need to go back and watch the videos again, you still did a great job. Next week, I am going to be using matter and energy to teach. So I want you to join us next week when we go over Chapter 2 of Matter and Energy. Please make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you so much for watching the video. It did not take us that long, only about 20 minutes. And I hope that you benefited very, very much. So subscribe, comment, hit the bell notifications, follow us on our platforms. And again, don't forget to check out our merchandise. Prices aren't that high. I made them pretty reasonable. And the Southern Beauty of Hvac merchandise is available on Teespring. So again, I will see you guys next week and have a great day.